Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk to one of my favorite people. She also happens to be Miss Collegiate USA, Jenna Martorana. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me again.
I think this is the third time on my show.
Yes.
And it's with the third book we're going to talk about.
Yes, so excited.
And we're going to talk about, this is a new title for you.
Yes, a very big title.
Yeah, this just happened, what, July 2025?
Yep, so July 12th, I was crowned Miss Collegiate USA in Washington, D.C. This was my third time competing in the Miss Collegiate USA organization. And I finally came home and brought the crown to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. What were you thinking in that moment when they announced you as the winner?
I just kept repeating in my head, I did it. I actually did it. Because, I mean, like I said, this was my third time competing with the organization, and to finally win and really show that somebody who lives with mental health conditions can become anything they set their mind to. I was like, I actually became the representation that I wanted to be.
Absolutely. So what do you think was different about this time, since you've done it a few times?
I mean, everybody just said that they could see a whole different side of me on stage. I had a lot more confidence going into it. I was a lot more secure in who I was, the message that I was bringing, and who I wanted to show the judges. Because to me, it's all about being authentic. When I first started competing in pageants in 2018, I had wanted to compete for years prior, but I didn't see anybody that sounded like me, that looked like me, or that had the same experiences as me. And when I finally started competing, I said right then and there that I was going to be the representation that I needed. And so staying true and authentic to who I am, my experiences all throughout my preparation, and sharing online what it takes to compete for a national title was one of the huge aspects for me. So being really true to myself just made all the difference on stage, and apparently to the judges too.
Yeah. What does it take to compete? I mean, you've done it enough and you have it obviously down now.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of hard work. It's not just, going on stage, throwing on a dress and hoping for the best. It's a lot of behind the scenes work of working on your interview and making sure that you're walking practice, that you're confident in that. But my biggest advice that I always tell the girls that I mentor is the easiest way to prepare for the title is to serve as if you already have it. So if you are already out in the community serving as if you're a state or a national title holder, then that's just seamless transition to that next title. And that's exactly what I told the judges, that for me, I have this 12-month plan of what I want to do for the national title, and I've already been implementing it as Ms. Pennsylvania Collegiate USA. So for me, all that means is I just need a new title to be able to expand that reach across the nation. And so that's always what I tell my girls, is that really the work starts from the minute you decide to compete in the pageant. And whether you put in those hours of preparation with your interview, with walking, picking out your wardrobe. Of course, I love to do pageants on a budget, so I'm always looking for deals.
Right.
But it's so much more than just getting out on stage. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into making sure that you are feeling confident and ready to take the stage.
Yeah, boy, you certainly have put in the work and certainly have done that too. Well, let's also give a little bit more of what you're doing in addition to this. You are an elementary school guidance counselor, correct?
Yes, I am. So I've been a school counselor. I graduated from Kutztown University with my master's in 2022 and have been working as a school counselor in Berks County. And that's pretty much just my dream, because I am somebody who spent a lot of time in the counselor's office growing up, and I know what it's like to kind of struggle with your mental health and not know who's there or who you can talk to. And so being that light for my students has been one of the biggest joys in my life.
Yeah, and that's also where these books are directed to.
Yes.
Which is amazing. Now, this is the third one, but the first one was Pearl's Purpose.
Yeah.
And then it was Pearl's Person. Is that right?
Yes.
And now we have this one, If You Give a Pageant Queen a Crown.
Yes. So this book came to me. I'd say trying to fall asleep at 2-3:30 in the morning, whatever, and I had this idea, and immediately I sat up and started writing, because I'm like, this is such a cute idea. And really, the book, I want to show people that pageant girls are more than just a sparkly hat and a sash. we are making a difference in our communities with that title. And so the book is a little bit of a reflection of my own journey throughout pageants, of, you know, winning my first title and finding my voice and using that voice to make a difference and to inspire other young girls to be queens themselves, whether that's in pageants or in whatever aspects of their life, that we know we all wear an invisible crown, and to empower other young girls to chase their dreams. And so that's kind of what this book reflects that.
What was the first title that you won?
My first title was Miss Red Rose City here in Lancaster in 2018, and that was such a special moment for me. I graduated from Millersville University in 2018, and so to hold that title during my senior year of college was really cool, and being able to represent the city of Lancaster, which I actually got to represent again when I won the title in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So how many titles have you won?
I was Miss Red Rose City in 2018, Miss Liberty Bell in 2019, and then because of the pandemic, I held that title throughout 2020 before winning Miss Red Rose City again. Then I held the title of Miss Berks County 2022, and then I competed as Miss Pennsylvania Collegiate USA, Miss Northeast Collegiate USA, and then finally Ms. Pennsylvania Collegiate USA before winning the national title.
Wow, that's a lot of competitions, and that's a lot of gowns, too.
Oh, yeah. My basement is packed full, but I am all about doing pageants on a budget. So I'm all about finding the deals and teaching other pageant girls how to do the same.
Absolutely, and it makes a lot of sense, too. Well, you also help a lot of the other pageant girls with your other business.
Yes.
Like sparkling design?
Yep, so Sparkling Designs and Gifts I created when I was actually in college. At that point, it's focused on baton twirling and other crafts, but once I started competing in pageants, my products all switched geared towards pageant women, and so I create personalized items for pageant title holders, like jackets with their titles, phone cases, crown boxes, pretty much anything that they could want their title on, I'm able to customize. And it's been so special for me to see the girls wear these items, use these items throughout their years of service, because I know long after the crown is put up on the shelf and they've hung up their heels, they're going to look at these items and remember all the special memories that they had during their year. So it's really cool to be able to watch that journey through the business owner's eyes, and also to see a lot of them, you know, whether it be with a local title or a state title, work year after year and to finally achieve whatever title they're going for. It's a really cool moment for me, too.
It is. Well, I think you started doing a lot of this, too, doing things that you wanted personally,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
And then other girls saw it and they thought, yeah, can I have this too?
Exactly. I mean, I grew up, I was a baton twirler, and then I was in color guard, and I've always been involved in activities that there haven't been a lot of things. You can't, you know, go out to, when I was little, you can't go to Justice and see something that said baton twirling on it or whatever, like you could finding like cheerleading. And so I've always been a crafty person, and once I started competing, I was like, well, of course I want to represent this title with pride.
Oh, sure.
And I feel like after winning this new title, I have a whole new wardrobe of all the jackets and sweatshirts and everything that I've made for myself, and of course my mom, because she used to represent too.
Yeah.
But it's been so fun to be able to see girls enjoy my creative outlet too.
Yeah. So where can we find out more about the creative outlet as well? Is that still on your main
So
page?
my business website is Sparkling Designs and Gifts. It's a mouthful, but there's definitely so many goodies there to check out.
Okay. And then if we go to JennaMartorana.com,
Yes.
we find what?
They'll find everything from mental health resources to college resources to, of course, the link to my children's books and a little bit about who I am, my mental health journey, which I've shared about previously on the show, but a lot of different things for people who want to find out how they can get involved with mental health and mental health advocacy.
Well, I know that you have gone, before you got this full-time job,
Yeah.
you used to go to schools and that sort of thing, but you were open to community events and
Yes.
doing that. So tell us types of things you've done.
I mean,
and can
a
do.
big part of my platform, which is It's Okay to Not Be Okay, is opening up those conversations around mental health. And as somebody who lives with depression, anxiety, and ADHD, I know what it's like to struggle in silence and to not feel like anybody understands what you're going through. And so a big part of promoting my platform is sharing my story across the state, across the country, to whoever wants to hear it. And so I've had a lot of opportunities as a speaker with the National Alliance on Mental Illness to share my story of hope and recovery in a way that not only has helped me heal, but shows others that recovery is possible, that there are resources out there. And so whether it's talking to kids, using my children's books to, you know, teach them from a young age how to talk about mental health, or out at mental health walks or other events in the community, being able to share my story and really put a face to the illness, because a lot of times we still hold those stereotypes. People with mental illnesses are scary or violent when, look at me with a sparkly crown on my head. That's not something you would ever think about.
Right.
And so by normalizing that, we're able to make people realize that those living with mental health conditions are just like us. They're our friends, our coworkers, our neighbors, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And that really normalizes that mental health is something we all deal with.
And we need to keep the conversation going.
Exactly.
Yeah, we really do. And I think you've seen a lot happen over the past few years with that, being more receptive, places that you go and things you encounter,
definitely.
right?
I think that's one of the silver linings that came out of the pandemic, is that mental health was brought to the forefront by necessity, and those conversations really were a lot more prevalent, especially with celebrities and online. And I'm glad that we've seen that change. I've seen the change even with my students. They are so much more willing to talk about their experiences. I was a Girls on the Run coach, and my kiddos, they'll talk about, their anxiety, going to therapy, things like that. And even as a high schooler, I would have never even thought or consider talking about that, and they just share so openly with each other. And that just shows that the work that we're doing to make these changes around mental health are working, and the next generation is really going to make that difference even greater.
That's right, and we're going to talk more about that when we return, so stay with us.
You're watching Lancaster Community TV, LCTV 66.
Welcome back to Behind the Lines and Jenna Martorana. We've been talking about what you just won, Miss Collegiate USA.
Yes.
And you also won some other awards with that too. You won a lot. What did you win?
Yes, so on top of the title, I was also awarded the Social Media Award for the third year in a row. One of my favorite things as a title holder is social media. So I was really happy to have taken home that award, as well as the denim wear, which was a new optional this year, where title holders could choose a denim outfit of their choice to rock on stage. And so that was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. So took home the Media Correspondent Award, where I was able to kind of create a public service announcement for the organization to encourage more girls to compete in the Miss Collegiate USA system. And then I took home the Silver Presidential Volunteer Service Award, which is really special because service is such an important part of pageants for me. And lastly, I took home the Salutatorian Award.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that was really exciting. As a graduate of Kutztown University, I'm really proud of the work that I put in while I was a student there. And so it's really exciting to have taken home that award for the senior divisions.
Absolutely. So let's just give a little bit more of your backstory. For those that might not have seen the other show or don't really know what it is, there were issues that you dealt with on a very personal level.
Yes.
Share with us.
Yes, so I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety as a junior in high school, and then finally diagnosed with ADHD at 27, and I'll be celebrating 10 years in September since my last suicide attempt. And to go from that girl that, didn't think that life would ever get any better, that all I was ever going to amount to was the pain that I was feeling, to now being here today as a national title holder with 3 children's books, working as a school counselor, running a business. If you had told Jenna in 2013 when I graduated from high school that I'd be here today, I would not believe you. At that point, I was just working to find the strength to live to the next day. And to be here on the other side of things is really what motivated me to get into pageants and to prove that, just because you've experienced these things, you struggle with your mental health, doesn't mean it has to define who you are.
You said one of the suicide attempts. How many did you try?
I had 5 suicide attempts, so
Wow.
So it'll be 10 years in September since my last one.
What was the turning point, Jenna?
Honestly, competing in pageants it's what helped me find my voice. Being able to speak, which actually my first event that I ever spoke at was here in Lancaster City. It was the first time I had shared my story aloud, made me realize that by sharing my story, not only was I showing other people that they're not alone in what they're going through, but I was able to kind of reclaim what happened to me and to really show that just because you've had these experiences, that good can come from it.
Absolutely.
And I think that I survived all my attempts so that I could be here today to be that hope and that inspiration for other people.
Okay, I have to understand the leap
Yes.
between suicide attempts and competing in pageants.
Yeah.
Who or what was a part of that?
Yeah, so I've been a baton twirler since I was little, and one of the local directors who has since passed away, John Metzger, he was the local director for the Miss Central Pennsylvania organization, reached out to me and he said, hey, I've heard about you in the baton world. He sent me a message on Facebook, and I really like for you to compete in my local, and I had been interested in competing for a couple years. I twirled in the Miss America Show Us Your Shoes parade in Atlantic City in 2015, 16, and 17. But I kind of kept thinking, who would want me as a title holder, like with my issues and everything? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. And I fell in love with pageants. I fell in love with the sisterhood and being able to serve my community. And so I think that all of this, who I am here today, is all because of a Facebook message.
Wow. Wow, so it was taking you out of where you were.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were open enough to investigate this next path.
I mean, they always say that everything good comes from you stepping out of your comfort zone. And as cliche as it sounds, it was so true for me because, I mean, I have anxiety. So trying something new was definitely a scary experience for me. I mean, I've been a performer since I was little, so I love being on stage. I love being the center of attention, but it's still scary to try something new. And that's, as the national title holder, one of my things I will be doing throughout my year is holding webinars that will teach girls things like how to develop their platform, how to utilize social media as a title holder, how to find pageant wardrobe on a budget, because I did come in late to the game. I was 23 years old competing against girls who have been competing since they were teens. And so I want girls to feel that they have the confidence and to take the stage, whether that be in the Miss Collegiate USA or another organization. And so that's one of my goals this year.
So it's important also to have a good support system.
Exactly.
Tell me about yours.
Yeah, I mean, my mom, she's here today with
Yeah.
me, and she's always supported me throughout my journey. But when I won this national title, my friend had posted on Facebook before I'd even gotten off stage about me winning, and I didn't realize it.
Wow.
And I come back from the dressing room, and my phone is blowing up because they had seen where she had posted, and I was tagged in
Wow.
with messages on Facebook, Instagram, text message. And it just made me realize how many people, whether they were the people I talk to every day or more of like silent supporters, have been watching my journey from, you know, starting in 2018 to here winning my national title in 2025, and all the people that have supported me and watched me grow along this journey.
Yeah. Wow. So your very first book was Pearl's Purpose. And that's geared to who?
So all of my books are geared towards children, but the goal of Pearl's Purpose was to teach kids that it's okay to not be okay. It talks to kids about how we can take care of our mental health, that there's things that we can do, like getting enough sleep, or making sure we're fueling our bodies with the food that it needs. But it also teaches kids about coping skills and how to use those, like talking to a trusted adult when we're feeling worried, or finding an activity that you enjoy, like coloring when you're feeling sad. And those really skills that I wanted. I know that as a school counselor, things that I've seen parents, teachers needing, and so I wanted to create a tool that could be used to start these conversations with kids from a young age, because adults often think that, you know, kids don't know anything about mental health. They don't deal with these issues, and I'm proof that they definitely do, but I see it every day with my students. And so I wanted them to have a tool that they could start these conversations from a young age.
So what age?
I mean, at any age in elementary school, K
5, 6, whatever?
Yeah, I would say 5 start.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I've read it to little kids. I've read it to like 3, 4-year-olds in a way that they understand, and I've read it all the way up to, you know, middle school students, because it's a story that, while it might be a little younger, it's still a message that anybody can understand.
Sure. And that's what Pearl's Person, the next one, gets into as well, right?
Yeah, so that talks about grief, because that was something that unfortunately a lot of my students have been experiencing. And when it comes to grief, we don't talk about it until we're experiencing it. And at that point, the adults in your life are usually too consumed with their own grief to help a child process it.
Yeah.
And so the book talks about how grief, isn't just about losing a person. It could be losing a pet, losing out on an experience. We saw a lot of that in the pandemic.
Right.
And so I wanted to create a tool that started that conversation specifically around grief beforehand.
Okay. And then this book, the most recent one.
Yes.
If you give a pageant queen a crown, and here she is.
Exactly.
Some of the things I thought were really great about this. Strength behind the sash. You say it's confidence, community, kindness, right?
Yes. So, I think of all the things that pageants have brought into my life, the sister queens, the confidence, the opportunities to serve my community. And I really want other young women to have those same experiences. And pageants, they start as young as babies up until, we have Mrs. pageants. We're going to be adding a Mrs. division for the 2026 season. So if there's any Mrs. out there,
you go.
Come join the MCU sisterhood. But I really wanted to be able to show other people that pageant girls are more than just a pretty crown and a sash. We are difference makers, creating change in our communities.
And then we also talk about the chain reaction of service, self-discovery, and support for others.
Yeah, so I think that I've seen firsthand how, when you are involved in an organization that promotes sisterhood, and it's so natural to want to be a mentor to other young women. And I've seen that with my own sister queens, how much they enjoy and how much they get out of being able to help other young women, whether it be in pageants or be in the other activities they're involved in. And so this book helps kind of remind people that, we are more than just this title. We are making a difference in inspiring the next generation of young women.
And that invisible crown is what?
I always say to always make sure you're wearing your invisible crown, and that can be the confidence in who you are. You always say don't let your crown slip, so to keep your chin up. And I'm somebody who, I struggled with my mental health for a while. I struggled with my self-esteem, and being able to be confident in who I am is what I think really shows not only on stage, but out in the community, out in my job of being confident in who I am.
And having impact, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and giving voice. And you certainly have done that very well and are continuing to do that.
Thank you.
It has been wonderful to catch up with you, and congratulations with this title.
Thank you.
And I know you are going to represent well for this next year coming up. And this book, we can find them, and we can go to your website, which is simply
JennaMartorana.com.
I like to keep it easy.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Jenna.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.